All right, guys, welcome back again to 22 Questions with Token. And today we got no other than Andrew from Lucia Protocol. How are you today, Andrew?
Pretty busy. Just trying to dwindle down a few things, but now I'm glad to be here. That's pretty much it. It's been quite a hectic day.
Sorry, what brand is that? What brand of headphones is that?
Steel Series.
Okay, so let's just get right into it. So don't waste your time because I know you're a very, very busy person. All right.
Yeah, so I would like to ask you this question. Who are some of the people in the crypto world that have inspired you the most?
That's a good question. I wouldn't say that really people have inspired me in the crypto world. I know that there have been some great developers out there that have started great projects, specifically layer ones. We can always talk about Vitalik, and anybody else that's kind of launched these successful platforms and protocols. But ideally, there's so many things that are still untouched in the space, and there's still a great need for a proper product market fit that kind of addresses a lot of the problems we see currently in the world today. I know we're trying to go to a decentralized space and still have a lot of headway to get there.
If you could explain blockchain to a 5-year-old, how would you explain it to a 5-year-old?
The best way to explain it is basically a way where you can track everyone's transactions from the moment they first originated to the very first one up until the one that's currently happening today. It's essentially a ledger that records history of transactions all from the beginning up until today, and it's transparent and it's publicly accessible.
And that's pretty good to hear. So I would like to ask you, what's the most innovative or creative crypto project you've come across recently?
Yeah, right now we're building a decentralized under-collateralized lending protocol. What we're trying to do is we're trying to provide better credit access to enterprising individuals and startups strictly through Web3. Right now, there's a lot of problems associated with current lending protocols and DeFi in general. We have over-collateralized lending that doesn't really solve the problem that we're seeing today. We're trying to reverse that process or basically flip it where we can provide under-collateralized lending. So you can essentially put in $50, let's say, collateral and borrow 100. All right. And the way we're doing that is we're creating a comprehensive credit scoring system. So we're using multi-levels of approach of assessing your credit worthiness. And that's going to come from financial metrics from traditional financial institutions such as your bank, the tax returns, whatever it may be, on-chain analytics, transactional behavior. So I think it's pretty cool what we're doing right now.
Now, what we need now is like mass adoption for people to come into the world of cryptocurrency.
Yeah.
So I believe that will happen like within the years to come.
Mass adoption really comes down to education and the user interface, the ease of use. Like it's as simple as downloading an app on an app store, whether it's Android or iOS, just basically signing up and using the product straight out of the box. Really finding a product market fit that really addresses a large variety of audience, from different demographics and geographical areas. And I think that's really important for wide scale adoption. There's still a lot of things that need to happen in the decentralized space. So we'll see how that kind of pans out in the next few years.
Yeah. So let's talk about being bullish. And if you could hold one coin, just one coin, apart from Bitcoin, what coin will you hold?
I was going to say Bitcoin, because essentially it's just a commodity at this point, the whole SRC20, whatever. I'm not going to get into that. But, if I could hold one coin, honestly, I think I would stick around to Ethereum or Solana. Those are the two greater options. I know Solana has seen a lot of traction in the last recent months. And there's a lot of community behind it. So, I'd probably be more focused on Solana. Maybe Ethereum, they're kind of tied for first, but Ethereum is too expensive to trade.
The gas fees are outrageous. So what's the most challenging aspect of working in the crypto industry for you personally?
The most challenging aspect is creating innovative technologies and, protocols that essentially address problems that haven't been resolved yet. There's a lot of things that you got to incorporate into creating a successful product. and a lot of these waters have not really been tapped yet, especially when it comes to the decentralized financial sector. We've seen Aave, we've seen Curve, these platforms kind of, follow their mentality and approach when it comes to borrowing, whether it's flash loans or whatever, but taking that concept and shifting it into something that hasn't been really, factored in a sense or developed is kind of like a big challenge right now. Anyone can build a DEX, anyone can build DeFi protocol. Like, every day there's a DEX coming out. Like, there's got to be a lot more than that.
Where's the weirdest place you have ever heard someone talking about crypto?
God, that's a good question. I think it was at a concert once. It was like a festival, and some random guy was just like, "Hey, man, do you do crypto?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I do it." And he just went on a rant about these random coins that he was crazy about. I think he was on something, but that was a weird time to have that kind of conversation because loud music, I couldn't hear a damn thing.
So I would like to know, how do you first get interested in cryptocurrency?
I think it was in 2015. No, not 2015. Yeah, 2015. I read the Bitcoin white paper and I saw like what it's trying to accomplish. And, I really thought that, this actually is a unique idea, a transparent, ecosystem that's, publicly accountable in terms of transactional activity. And I'm like, this might be something really valuable in the future, something that's decentralized, factors in anybody can get involved. It was a big deal. Initially I got in when it was around, a couple $1,000s, and it's seen substantial growths, and you've seen all that has come with it alongside.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. So it's talking about when you got into crypto 2015. I want to ask, what's your take on meme coins and stable coins?
Meme coins, they have no value. It's all hype. If you're excited about it, if you want to be fun and like active, it's based on really how many people are like hyping it up and, creating that, FOMO feeling. So people are just like pumping a, token just for like the, quick, easy buck. There's so many meme coins out there, and a few of them have actually made it in the space. We have Bonk, Shiba Inu, Dogecoin, the OG, so many meme. I don't have anything positive or negative. I think they're just, stupid fun thing to have. I don't have a good outlook on stable coins right now unless they're backed by something. I don't know if you guys remember what happened with Terra Luna, where, essentially there was a depegging event off of some massive short, and, a lot of people lost a lot of money. USDT, that's a whole nother story. I don't know where the hell that comes from. But, there's a lot of things that need to happen in terms of RWAs, having it backed by something, and working with protocols that are backing these stable coins that they're creating by gold or silver, I think is really valuable. Than like DPIN, etc. So stablecoin can't just be minted out of thin air. There has to be some kind of like limit behind it.
Yeah, that's true. So what's one common myth about crypto that you wish people would stop believing?
It's a scam. There's actual technology behind it. A lot of projects are scams. Out of like the thousands of projects that are out there, about 95% of them are going to be garbage. And they're going to disappear after a few years, or not even, just like after a short amount of time. It's happened multiple times on and on again. Projects burn. But the actual technology and the framework behind not crypto, but blockchain technology, I think is important, especially because it incorporates a decentralized approach. And that's something that kind of gives power back to the people. And then there's a whole other side of that when you have like kind of like control over a lot of the shares of certain resources, et cetera, and whatever, I'm not going to get into that. But yeah, I wouldn't say that, I would like people to stop believing that it's a scam in the sense that, there's a lot of nonsense that has happened in the space. It's very volatile. It's very new. I don't think it's going to start stabilizing until probably 2030 something. It's going to take quite some time. People are going to talk about it. Barely anybody knew what it was in 2015. A few more people knew what it was in 2017. And then now everybody knows what it is in like 2020 and 2024. So, education, understanding, getting through the white noise, I think people will find their common ground.
Yeah. Where do you see the future of crypto heading in the next 5 to 10 years?
I think that eventually the current banking systems are going to adopt crypto, whether they're going to make their own or they're going to start using another current existing project. I know XRP tried to get their foot in the door. I'm not sure. The whole lawsuit thing probably screwed them up. But yeah, eventually there's going to be a migration between traditional finance and decentralized finance. With CBDCs coming out right now, everything's going to be digitized, and how they decide to and how they decide to incorporate that. It's either we basically adopt it or they absorb us. It'll be interesting to see where it pans out to, honestly.
Yeah, that's true. Now you've been in the crypto industry for several years right now. So if you could give one piece of advice to your past self, what would it be about crypto?
Do your own research. It's very important. I've been involved in scammed. I've been personally scammed myself. I think that's the process of being gracefully introduced into cryptocurrency, because there's a lot of things that are out there that kind of falsify exactly what they're trying to do in terms of certain projects, and you get screwed over in the end. So really do your own research, understand what it is that you need to look for, and kind of stick to things that are a bit more stable and have a little bit of a good track record over the last several years. There's a lot of scams out there.
There's a lot of rogue pools going on in the industry.
Talking about scams, where do you usually get your information about crypto from?
So I go directly to the GitHub. I look at the audit reports. I also look at who's auditing the project. I've been involved a lot in crypto security and auditing in the past. And there's some reputable firms out there, and there's some firms that are just like a pay to receive a certificate. We're not going to announce any names. But, you kind of want to look at exactly, how important, how well thought out is this ecosystem, and what's the value proposition here, and what have they done to actually make that information publicly available. And if I'm getting a lot of vague, answers, like if I go to the Telegram community, etc., and it's just looking very generic and a lot of promises, these weird, returns that they're offering and guaranteeing for people. 10x, 100x, 1000x, whatever discount here. It's not worth it. You got to look at the core team. You got to look at the background of the project, find out who's working on it. It's important. There's a lot of things to look into. So dive into their socials. Start asking questions there. Get information there, and if it's not enough to suffice or satisfy your research requirements, then stay away.
Talking about this now, could you share a memorable story from your crypto journey that has had significant impact on you?
I could talk about Terra Luna. There's a couple. There's Celsius that also I was involved in, Terra Luna. A lot of these lending platforms, they really don't know you really got to understand who's managing these organizations. There's the whole FTX thing that happened as well. There's not enough oversight, and I do believe we need a little bit more oversight to manage these degens that are, all over the place. But and when you're dealing with volatile assets and money's being moved around frivolously and recklessly, eventually there's going to be a massive correction in the market, and it's going to cause problems. That's what happened with Celsius, and that's what happened with FTX. And FTX was a little bit more complicated, but that was the most impactful. It's really understand where you're putting your money, and at the end of the day, after those incidents, I'm never leaving any of my assets in anything where I don't have custody of them. So it's all on a ledger. It's all tied to, I have my keys. Remember, the biggest lesson is not your keys, not your coin. You leave it on an exchange, you're putting yourself at risk.
Oh man, you saying this makes a lot of sense, because I had a friend that lost so much money from leaving his money on exchange, and whoa, that was a lot of money he lost that day. Remember the whole story about the guy who bought pizza with Bitcoin? I bought pizza with them. What's the reaction?
Bought pizza with Bitcoin?
Yeah.
Whatever, man. It's stupid. The whole, let them do it. If they want to do it, that's fine. What was my reaction? He was an idiot. So you did it, you did it. And I remember that. I remember reading that story, that he paid with Bitcoin, and it was Bitcoin was worth nothing then. And I'm sure he probably shot himself in the face by now.
So I've been pointing the war right now.
And I also made a mistake. I learned about Bitcoin. I'm oh, it's $1. Oh, what is that? I didn't do anything about it, but this guy had some and then got rid of it real quick. So stupid. I mean, it's not his fault. Who knew it was going to hit, upper 60s?
If you could host a pizza party with 3 people from the crypto world, who would you invite?
Honestly, I don't know. That's a good question. In terms of influential people in the crypto space, there's a lot of people out there that kind of have these conversations. I really don't know who I bring on board. Honestly, I bring people that I've been doing crypto with for years, and that's just close personal friends of mine, and that's pretty much it. I don't need everyone else that has done crazy things to be part of that. It might be fun. I don't know who.
So, which crypto buzzword are you tired of hearing?
To the moon. You know, like
That's the popular buzzword that we have right there. To the moon.
to the moon, man. Like everyone's to the moon, to the moon. Not really. You know, like
Yeah. Okay. I want to ask you this question: which industry do you think will be the next to widely adopt crypto?
there's a couple actually. There's I'm talking a lot of projects that are working on the power and infrastructure. I honestly think it could be, tied down to real world assets. I know real estate's getting a nice jive of it. Essentially, we'll see. I don't know. I know financial institutions are probably going to be. I honestly don't know. It could be either or. You never know. There's like so many things happening in tandem at the same time. It's like who's going to be adopting this? But like the banks are trying to get their control in some sense. So I'm thinking they're going to adopt in some kind of sense. It could be good or it could be bad. Who knows? I don't know.
So I want to ask you this: if you were a superhero and you had time travel powers, would you rather go back to 2010 to buy Bitcoin or jump to the future, let's say 2050, to see where crypto is?
When I jump to 2050 and lose all my life, I want to be like freaking just 60 years old and be like, oh, great, it's $1 billion and I still have zero. Like, I would jump back for sure.
Yeah. So let me ask you, with the old crypto rules and regulations that are being passed, I want to ask you if you could instantly make one crypto law and or regulation, what would it be?
I would make it easier for people to have access to centralized exchanges, specifically in the United States or across the globe. I know there's a lot of geo restrictions for exchanges that are prominent in the space: Coinbase, Binance, KuCoin, all these KYC rules, etc. It's just really constraining and limiting on who can access it and who can't. And it's all stupid because there's some tokens that are not recognized by certain jurisdictions, whatever, because there's a whole licensing process,
I mean, it's been fun having you on this podcast. We were able to talk about crypto, and trust me, I learned a lot from you.
Yeah, I learned a lot from you too.
And officially, I'm a fan of your work. I'm a fan of Lucia Score. And from us, me, Solomon, and Phawel, we say goodbye.
Yeah, bye.